Good afternoon. This is Chapter 10 revision of Joshua, preached by Pastor Daniel. I'm going to be saying some bullet points from this chapter. The enemy were after Jesus, Joshua, and Israel, but they pretended to attack the Gibeonites to get Joshua. Now, this is a very important bit because Joshua and the Israelites made a treaty with the Gibeonites without consulting God. So, since they had a treaty, the enemy were after the Gibeonites and they pretended to be after the Gibeonites so that they could kill Joshua. But luckily, God came and told Joshua that it was all going to be okay, and the enemy were in his hands. The Amorites, the 5 kings, were already in his hands, and they would be defeated. The devil might want to get you, but will first attack your possessions, like your job or your family or etc. So the devil might want to get you, but before he gets you, he will try and get your possessions. Like maybe he'll try and get your job to maybe make you quit or maybe lose your job, and then he'll finally attack you. But just know that God will always have a plan for you, and you will always be led by the way of God. And if you just really consult with him and you really think about him and be with him and pray, then it will all be okay. And if you read Joshua 10:7-11, you will really understand everything I'm saying, because those are the few verses that will really get your head into everything I'm saying. Next bullet point is, just because God said he'll give you something doesn't mean you shouldn't, it doesn't mean you should be resting, and it means that you should be marching all night long. Just because God says he's going to do something for you and give you what you want doesn't mean that you can just sit down. Like, for example, maybe if God says he's going to make you the president, for example, it doesn't mean you should just sit down and relax and let God do the work. It means that you should also do your part, where you should be marching all night and do your part to succeed as well as what God is doing to make you succeed. Next is, once you do your part, God will also do your part. So once you do your part of trying to become a teacher or the president, God will also do his part to make you succeed in that. So you shouldn't just be lazy and sit down and relax and drink tea. You should actually do your part to succeed your dreams. Before experiencing all the sudden, you should do your part your all night march, and God will do his part. As I said before, the more you do your part and you don't let God do everything he's supposed to do, you will succeed and you will see a lot of change in your life, especially if you read Exodus 14, verse 21. I really like that verse. It shows that more about this story, and you'll really get to capture and understand everything. Praying can be your all night long march. So if you pray, maybe fast for 21 days, like some people are doing right now, that could be your all night march, and that could already be something that you're going forward to succeeding. And that could be your all night march, and God will also do his part, as I said, if that makes sense. The Israelites succeeded not by letting God do all the work alone, but also doing their part. So even though God told the Israelites that the Amorites were already in their hands, they didn't just sit down and let God do the work. They marched all night long and they killed the Amorites, and they did their work as God did his. And Joshua 10, verse 12-13 will tell you more about that. And a question I have that I will tell the answer is, why did the Amorites die by the hailstones, but the Israelites survived? So I'm gonna explain that. The Amorites died. So a few of them were defeated, but the Amorites died. The rest of the Amorites died by hailstones, but even though hailstones were also on the Israelites, only the Amorites died by them. And that's a bit confusing, because how come the Amorites only died but the Israelites didn't? So here's the answer for why the Amorites died. The hailstones didn't kill the Israelites because it was a grace for them and a judgment for the Amorites. So the Israelites didn't die by the hailstones that God put down on them because it was a grace for them to succeed, and the Amorites died because of the judgment and they were doing bad stuff. So I think everyone should read Joshua because it's a very, very nice story, and get someone to explain it more, or just read my, or listen to what I've been doing and revising it, because I think Joshua is a really nice way. If you're starting a church like my family, it's a really nice way to understand it, especially chapter 10, because I think it's a really nice story. Thank you. Goodbye.